Okay, so I am working on my landscape painting. This is my reference image, and I'm kind of combining this one with this one because I think these mountains are a little less complicated than these ones. And I'm not going to do all the detail of this city here. I think I'm just going to pretend this is sort of flat land. So what I did here was I did the general shape of some of the mountains and the different layers, and some of the shapes of like the bushes. And it's more important to get a little bit more detail in the foreground because that's where we can see the most detail, and have a little bit less detail in the background so that it looks like it's going back into the distance a little bit more. So, a couple of tips. When you have your watercolor set, this one is obviously pretty messy, but what you can do to clean your colors is you can just get a little water in there and wipe out any colors that are making it a little bit messy. And then you can get like a paper towel and just clean off that surface icky layer, and it will be a lot nicer to use. Another thing you can use is the lid of your watercolor set. So this is meant to be like a palette where you can mix your custom colors. So right here, I have a nice kind of gray color for my mountains. So I'm gonna see how this mountain is kind of gray. So I'm going to try to paint these mountains kind of a gray color, sort of a gray-green color. It's a little too green. These mountains look a little bit purple to me, so I'm going to add a little bit of purple to my gray and make it a little bit more of a warm color. I'm going to go back in and add that changed color a little bit. I'm using a big brush because these shapes are pretty large. And I'm using the edge of my brush, like the corner, to get that sharp mountain peak edge. So I'm using that side of my brush to show the edge. Now I have just a line here, and in this picture you can see that they sort of fade down. So I'm actually going to just get my brush with just a little bit of water on it, and I'm going to go over this line with just water to blend this purple gray downward. So I'm just taking this paint that I already had and I'm just kind of pushing it down. And you can see it's starting to blend out the paint a little bit. And you don't want to go over it too many times because your paper will start to get a little bit messed up. Now I want to, in this picture you can also see the bottom edge is kind of defined right where it hits the water. So I'm going to take this darker color right at the bottom edge and I'm going to try and make a sharp edge at the bottom of the mountains also. So kind of like that, going across, making a nice little edge using the edge of my brush, like that. And I'm also going to use this kind of pull into the shapes a little bit to show the mountains. And because my painting is wet, you can see the colors are kind of blending together a little bit. And that's kind of a nice effect. The big thing with watercolor is you want to let it do its own thing. You don't want to fight it too much. If you try to just fight against what the paint is naturally doing, you end up messing up your paper a lot. So try to really just go with the flow. See, I'm starting to get a little bit overworking the paper right here, and you can see there's little bits of paper coming up, and that's how I know stop. Don't work that area anymore. Leave it alone. Let it dry. Focus on somewhere else. You can also play with the colors. Like I noticed there's a little bit of red in the mountains, so I'm going to add a little bit like that. There's a little bit of red in these mountains over here. And you can like make the colors a little more intense if you want to. It does not have to be perfect. So just kind of have fun with your colors like that. Okay, so the way I'm working here is kind of like back to front, but you could work the other way if you wanted to. And basically what you want to try to do is look at your picture, imagine what that color is, and then try to mix your own version of it on a palette. And you can also have your watercolor test paper. You can flip it over and you can use it to test your colors. So for example, I want to make this nice light yellow color. So first of all, I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is clean off part of this palette. I'm going to get some paper towel to wipe it off. So I have some new mixing space. And then I'm going to try and mix up this nice sort of light yellow color here, a little bit of orange. It's kind of a yellow and an orange together, and it's really light and soft. That's going to be kind of like this color. So I'm going to test that out. Look, that kind of matches that color. So that's another way you can do it, is have a test paper and look, okay, this matches this. It also matches the sky a little bit right there. So I'm going to try to put it in the water right here. Ooh, that's a nice color next to the mountain colors. So I'm going to put that. This is the same color as this because it's reflecting the sky. Whenever you have water, sometimes it shows the same colors that are in the sky because it's a reflection of what you see up above. So I'm just kind of adding little bits of this color and getting that in there. And then while I still have this color, I want to put it in the sky too. Looks like I need to mix up a little bit more. Oops, too much orange. A little bit more yellow. Okay, now that I have this color again, I want to put it into the sky to match with the other part of my painting and make it look kind of like that reflection is happening. So I'm kind of, it also helps to paint light to dark. So right now I'm painting my lightest color in the sky first, and then I can add my darker colors afterward. That. Okay, and you can see it's coming along.